BILLINGS. Mont. The North American wolverine would receive long-delayed threatened species protections under a Biden administration proposal released Wednesday in response to scientists' warnings that climate change will likely melt rare species' snowy mountain refuges and push them toward extinction. In much of the United States, wolverines were wiped out by unregulated trapping and poisoning campaigns in the early 1900s. The approximately 300 animals that survive in contiguous United States live in fragmented, isolated groups at the high altitudes of northern Rockies. Wolverines join a growing number of animals, plants and insects, from polar bears in Alaska to alligators in South Florida. Officials say they are at increased risk as rising temperatures scorch the planet, alter snowfall patterns and sea levels rise. In coming decades, rising temperatures are expected to shrink the mountain snowdrifts that grubs use to dig burrows, where they are born and raise their young. Fish and Wildlife Service's decision Wednesday comes after more than 2 decades debate about the risks of climate change and threats to the long-term survival elusive species. Protections under Endangered Species Act are needed, primarily due to the ongoing increasing impacts of climate change and associated habitat degradation fragmentation, officials wrote in proposal. The animals resemble small bears and are the largest black ferret species in the world. Sometimes called mountain devils, they thrive in harsh mountain environments. The protections were rejected under former President Donald Trump. In 2022, a federal judge ordered President Joe Biden's administration to make a final decision this week on whether to seek protections. Republican lawmakers in Montana had urged ministration to delay its decision, claiming scientists' predictions were too flawed to make a fair judgment about the dangers facing wolverines. Lawmakers, led by far-right conservative Rep. Matt Rosendale, warned that the protections could lead to future restrictions on activities permitted in wolverine habitats, including snowmobiling and skiing. Rosendale said Wednesday that if finalized, he would seek to revoke threatened species status for wolverines at the first opportunity. Whether private, whether it's state property, whether federal, if the use of that land is limited based on that status. That's a usurpation, he said. Will federal government compensate the state for non-use of this land? State-owned land? In September, government scientists acknowledged some uncertainty about how quickly mountain snowpack might disappear each spring in areas where polar wolves are found. They also said habitat loss from climate change, combined with other problems such as increased construction of houses and roads, will likely harm wolverine populations. The best available information indicates that habitat loss as a result climate change and other stressors will likely impact viability of wolverine